There is something special about Daytona. For nearly 4 decades, the World Center of Racing has played host to all the action of the ARCA REMAX Series. This series has been the launching pad for many spectacular careers. Drivers like Carson, Petty, and Allison all got their start doing battle in ARCA. Today, second-generation drivers, famous names such as Jarrett and Labonte are set to make their mark in this rough and tumble division. 200 miles of mayhem are straight ahead, so sit down, buckle in, and hold tight. The Discount Auto Parts 200 starts now on the Speed Channel. Welcome to the Daytona International Speedway, the world center of racing, where Speed Week 2002 is underway today. 200 miles of racing, the Discount Auto Parts 200 for the ARCA REMAX Series. Hi everyone, I'm Steve Burns. Thanks for joining us here on the Speed Channel. Well, let's get right to it. Joining us is Larry McReynolds. Larry, you've won the Daytona 500 here a couple of times in numerous races. But what a field we have today. We've got a 62-year-old, a 16-year-old, series champions, and everything in between.
Well, you talk about experience. A lot of these guys in this race, they have more experience here at Daytona than a lot of the drivers in the Winston Cup garage area. But you'll hear us talk about it all day long. Patience. And that's maybe the difference between experienced and inexperienced. 80-lap race, a lot of times in early going, inexperienced will not use that patience. But trust me, 15, 20 laps to go, everybody forgets the word patience.
Well, Larry, single-car accidents seem to be rare here at Daytona. So the one thing that drivers fear the most is the dreaded big one, that multi-car pileup that usually comes early in the race. It's hard to avoid 20, 30 cars running together in a pack. And once one car gets out of shape, brother, it's on. So, Larry, what's the driver to do?
Well, again, it's going to go back to the word patience, but a lot like on a very crowded interstate at rush hour. Give and take, especially in the early going. These cars are running in big packs at over 180 miles an hour. One car just slipped. These cars are bouncing around, running wide open around here. One car accident normally ends up in a 20-car wreck.
Well, patience is tough on an interstate, tough on a racetrack. And, you know, a lot of the drivers don't predict a pileup, but they think it's right around the corner.
It's kind of inevitable a lot of times at these racetracks because we have such large packs, but the ARCA race seems to get spread out a little bit better, so I think that you know, everybody worries about these rookies being up front. But these guys are good race drivers, so I don't see those guys making a problem. Usually it's the old guys that make the mistake and get into trouble.
It's going to happen. I think it's going to be within lap 10. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think it'll be, if they don't have a Winston Cup guy come over and scare us like they did at Talladega, the wreck will be within 10 laps. If Schrader or somebody comes over and talks turkey like he did at Talladega, everything will be fine.
Hey, do we have some crew chief experience in this booth or what? Jeff Heyman won this race in 1989 with an experienced driver, the Daytona 500 that is, a guy named Waltrip, Darrell Waltrip, I believe. Now let's say you're the crew chief for the 18-year-old pole sitter Chase Montgomery. What do you tell him?
I'll tell you exactly what I'm going to say to him, Steve. I'm going to say, you remember your driver's education there, Chase? Remember when I told you to drive defensively? That's one thing you've got to do. You've got to be smarter than the guys around you. You've got to realize that that's where that big P comes from. Patience is being smart and taking your time. If you want to stay out of the big one and get down to victory lane, you've got to start there.
All right, Jeff, we're keeping an eye on a lot of talented young drivers. One of them is Jason Jarrett, one of many drivers to give his career a jump start in the ARCA REMAX Series. After a rough start to his NASCAR Busch Series career, Dale Jarrett's oldest son ran the full season in ARCA in 2001. Had a good season. He finished second in points to Frank Kimmel and claimed one victory, that coming at the inaugural race at the Kansas Speedway. Joining us today on our broadcast team, Ralph Sheheen. He's on pit road, and he has more on Jason Jarrett.
Jason Jarrett was patient enough to win the 2001 ARCA RE/MAX Rookie of the Year title. Now, I spoke to Jason just moments ago before they fired engines about where he gets his patience here at Daytona. He told me it's when he has a car that he feels comfortable with. This car that he is racing today, he feels extremely comfortable with, and that way he doesn't have to rush through the pack and make moves that are inconsistent with a driver who's trying to be patient.
Thanks very much, Ralph. Jeff Hammond, look at the youngsters in today's race.
Would you look right there, 16, 24. The big thing is, Steve, believe it or not, 9 of these young guys who are under 25 years of age are starting in the top 18 of this field today, so we have got a young group at the head of the pack.
Damon Lusk, the old man of that group, 24 years old. Well, folks, tighten those belts at home because we're about to have the ARCA RE/MAX Series Discount Auto Parts 200 starting lineup coming up.
This Speed Channel presentation brought to you by RE/MAX. Outstanding agents, outstanding results.
Welcome back to the Daytona International Speedway Week. The cars are taking their pace laps right now. Steve Burns, Larry McReynolds, Jeff Hammond, Ralph Shaheen with you. Let's take a look at today's starting lineup. On the pole, 18-year-old Chase Montgomery and Billy Venturini, both in Pontiac.
And in the second row, we have Keith Seegers driving a Morgan McClure Chevrolet, and third-generation driver Jason Jarrett.
Bobby Gerhart qualified 5th, won this race in 1999.
In row 4, it's Michael Burgers. He's from Great Britain, and Justin Labonte, second-generation driver.
Tina Gordon making her second ARCA start, finished 10th at Talladega in 2001. Frank Kimmel, 3-time ARCA champ. He'll be running the number 50 on his car today, symbolizing ARCA RE/MAX Series 50th anniversary.
Row 7, the youngsters, Randall Ritter, another veteran from Franklin, Tennessee.
And Casey Mears, son of Roger Mears, will run the whole Busch Grand National Series this year.
In today's field, guys, 14 Chevrolets, 13 Pontiacs, 12 Fords, and 2 Dodges.
And we got Andy Hillenberg, a 2-time winner here at Daytona.
Richard Mitchell, 2-time Northeast champion, graduated from West Virginia University with a mechanical engineer degree.
And as we take a look at the rest of the field, 41 drivers make up the field.
And Vern Slave, 62 years old, making an ARCA start today.
Sonny Hobbs, one of 2 female racers in today's event.
Todd Bowser, one of the Bowser drivers, the family of Bowser, Jack Bauer, former champion of this series, starting last.
His dad and his brother have won championships. Let's check in now with Ralph Shaheen. He has more on defending series champion Frank Kimmel.
Obviously, when you win a championship, Steve, you have lots of luck. But the one thing that Frank Kimmel says he's never had here at Daytona is luck. And he told me just before they took off on the grid, that's the one thing that's keeping him from finding victory lane, which, believe it or not, happens to be all of about 10 yards from his pit stall today.
All right, thanks a lot, Ralph. Frank Kimmel wants to win here. Let's take a look at our onboard cameras. Rick Pirelli in the RE/MAX car. He starts in the 12th position. Frank Kimmel in the Advanced Auto Parts Pork, the other white meat car, starts 11th. Billy Venturini, the son of 2-time series champion Bill Venturini, he starts 2nd. He's in the Future Network Broadcasting car. And our pole sitter, Chase Montgomery, number 27, the ARCA RE/MAX Series onboard view.
And trust me, we'll be using those shots a lot today, and it will be plenty of action. We've already got the 34 car of Darrell Basham. He's on pit road, never really made it off pit road. They have the hood up, so his problems is starting early.
Talking about a bad feeling. Whenever you get ready to start what they consider as their biggest race of the season, you can't get off pit road. Those guys right now are really hurting.
Let's take a look at the race analysis for today's race. Daytona International Speedway, the ARCA RE/MAX Series. 41 cars. It's an 80-lap event, 200 miles, purse of $150,000. And here, crew chiefs, let's talk about that fuel window.
Well, actually, I think the fuel window's going to be a little longer than that. It's an 80-lap race. The guys was talking about, Jeff, these tires, they will run probably longer than 200 laps. The real issue is going to be fuel, but all of them feel like they can make it on one stop.
Exactly. We got the 59 car coming down pit road also, Larry. Looks like he's got problems before the start of the race. They're putting fuel in that car, and on a NASCAR, if you do that before the green flag, you would automatically go down a lap, and we had the 41 car coming down pit road.
That's Todd Bowser, as we talked about earlier. That's one of the most famous names. We should mention before the race, they honored all the previous ARCA champions in driver introductions. That's a nice touch by ARCA.
It really, really was. They've been around a long time, and a lot of people don't really realize how significant of an impact they've had in the sport of auto racing. With all the greats like A.J. Foyt and even our own Darrell Walton was raced in ARCA and won races.
And Jeff Hammond has.
Exactly right.
There it is, 2.5 miles in length, 31 degrees banking in the corner. And Jeff, the travel banking, you and I were down there this morning. It's hard to stand up at the start-finish line on the front stretch.
It really is, Larry. And the one thing we don't want to forget about this racetrack, we didn't get a chance to talk much about the weather, but it's cloudy here today, and the wind has been changing and going up and down. And as you know, when the wind gets across to this racetrack, a lot of times it can create handling problems.
Let's go down to Ralph Shaheen. Ralph?
Well, you talked about some of the cars making quick pit stops. The 59, for example, had changed a motor earlier this morning, so they were just out checking things, brought back in. They were going to have to go to the back of the pack anyway. So since they were going to the back, they thought, well, let's just get that extra gallon of fuel, and they shoved it in.
All right, thank you, Ralph. 59, Mark Gibson. 34, Darrell Basham back onto the racetrack.
As long as he could get his race car on the racetrack by the time they took the green flag, then he'll be in good shape.
Mark Gibson, we saw just a moment ago from Daytona Beach, driving that 59 car. Field entering turn 4. What do you think, boys?
I'm saying pull them tight, boys. Don't jump the start. And I know one thing, I'm starting to get excited.
Pace car is in fact heading to pit road, and that means we're about to go racing.
200 miles, 80 laps.
Easy, green flag is down.
The 39th Annual Discount Auto Parts 200 is underway here at the Daytona International Speedway.
They're going to make it 3 wide before they even get out of the trial now. Come on, guys, a little bit of patience. Chase Montgomery in the 27 car, the pole sitter. He's caught in the middle. He's going to go all the way back to about 12 before they get to turn 1.
Larry, I may be wrong, but it looked like he had a problem at the start. Billy Venturini really looked like he should shot out the gate.
Billy Venturini lives in Concord, North Carolina, the son of two-time ARCA Series champion Bill Venturini.
Something's wrong with that car. It does not sound like it's hitting on all 8 cylinders. You usually see them, they're going by him on the high side, the low side. He definitely has a problem.
And at 18 years of age, I'm sure he doesn't know exactly what to think about that. So you might better be careful when you come up on that car right now, guys. Be careful.
Back up front. 4 or 5 cars, nose to tail. 2 wide back there. The 75, Michael Bergers. He's a young man from Great Britain, making his debut here in ARCA.
He's caught on the bottom of the racetrack right now. That second groove looks like it's what's moving. That's where they're lined up. They've got him caught on the bottom, and there's nothing you can do there.
But he gets car in trouble up on the high side. On the high side.
Oh, that's Jason Garrett, the 67. He's off the pace.
Looks like maybe he may have a tire going down or something.
Battle for the lead.
Bobby Gearhart in that 5 car, bringing Keith Seegers in the 04 car with him. This is the same car that Bobby Gearhart won Talladega with. And we talked to him, Jeff. He felt very confident about his chances today.
Yes, he did. He really was very pumped up about the way his car was working. He has a setup for this racetrack, and he doesn't deviate from it, which really surprised me. A lot of guys try a lot of different things, but he decided to stick with his setup, and he's been very successful with it.
And we saw Keith Seegers. Jeff, you mentioned that's a Morgan McClure car. If it looks familiar, it is a Winston Cup car.
Absolutely. And they've got several of the guys from the Cup team working on that car, and they were the fastest in practice. The only practice these guys had yesterday.
The 05, the High Plains drifter, Rick Pirelli.
got a car real slow off of turn 2 over here. I don't know if he's going to make it back. He may have one of the first caution flags.
And we understand Jason Jarrett may have a tire going down. Don't want to be running at 200 miles an hour with a tire going down.
See, Frank Kimmel in that 50 car, remember, he was our champion last year, and I looked at his stats. 10 wins,
Oh, they're scary.
11 poles, and 25 starts, 22 top 10. That's the reason he's champion.
Let's check in with Ralph Shaheen. Ralph?
Well, the problem with your pole sitter is definitely a motor problem. It will not get above 6,000 RPM. I just spoke to his crew chief, Keith Batson. They're not sure what the problem is, and they're not seeing anything over 6,000 RPMs. And with two crew chiefs next to you, Steve, I think both of them will tell you 6,000 RPMs isn't going to get you far, but down pit road here.
No, it's that is the worst situation you can get is to have your foot flat on the floor and the car will not get up to speed.
Now, these cars, they want to turn them now. They run a 29/32 restrictor plate. That's just a 30-second bigger than the 7/8 plate that Winston Cup runs. And in the draft, these things make peak power around 6,800 to 7,000 RPMs in the draft.
Bobby Gerhart. Seegers taking a look on the outside. That familiar-looking Kodak car, what used to be a Winston Cup car. Seegers from Jacksonville, Florida.
Owns an auto repair shop. A lot of these guys, they don't race full-time for a living. Keith Seegers only runs a handful of races each year.
The red Ford car, Justin Labonte, making a nice showing. Justin's just 21 years old, just had a birthday, I believe.
If you notice, that's a Dodge, and this at one time was a Ford. It was driven by Rick Mass when it was a Ford back in the mid-90s, and Ernie Elliott did the engine for this race car.
Not to mention, he's also got his grandfather, Bob Labonte, working on this car, and he is basically the mentor of the Labonte brothers, Bobby and Terry.
Bobby Gerhart continues to lead, followed by Keith Seegers. We'll be back at the Daytona International Speedway on the Speed Channel.
I'm Michael Waltrip. This is Speed Channel. No one gets you closer.
And welcome back to the Daytona International Speedway. Bobby Gerhart continuing to lead. A 200-miler here, ARCA REMAX Series action. He's followed by Justin Labonte. Let's check in with Ralph Shaheen.
Well, they just pitted Jason Jarrett's car, and they had a very bad vibration on that car. Now, they pitted and took on 4 tires. They think it is I got it right here in front of me. See which one it is. The left rear tire. Left rear tire, bad for Jason Jarrett.
And Ralph, problems on the 04 car, Keith Seegers.
Yeah, he's gotten in the wall right there off of turn 2, it looks like. He's smoking heavily, trying to get to pit road right now, Steve.
So far, we do not see a caution flag.
As long as they don't put any debris down, they probably will not throw a caution flag. But a lot of damage on that car, and it's up there on the front end. And when you damage the front end that bad, your day's pretty much done here at Daytona, as much as that front end's important.
Take a look at it, guys. He's on the backstretch.
I thought so. He got squeezed up in the wall as it come off that corner right there.
That was the 75. That's Michael Berger, as we said, making his ARCA debut.
Yeah, the left front damage came from the 75 car. The right front damage came from getting into the wall.
And Larry, as you know, coming off of turn 2, the car's kind of sit out because of the transitioning off of that corner. So it kind of throws the car out to the backstretch wall, believe it or not. So it's real easy to pinch somebody into there.
And the longer you run, the less these tires grip that push. The front end not turning gets worse and worse off turn 2.
It really does.
Back up to the leaders. And guys, don't look now, but here comes Frank Kimmel.
Imagine that.
Imagine that. He had 11 poles last year.
Well, and I talked to Frank quite a bit a couple of days ago, and he told me, and what's happened is exactly what he anticipated. You know, he didn't qualify that good, at least by his standards, qualified like 11th, and their standards is sitting on the front row, but he said, I just know from my experience, this car will draft good. We got the 75 car. He's in trouble on the backstretch.
Got a caution.
That will bring out the caution. First caution of the day displayed on lap 10. 75 car, Michael Berger's. Pretty heavy damage to the rear of that machine. So first caution coming on lap 10 of 80 here, the ARCA REMAX Series. Race from Daytona. Speed Week's underway. The Daytona 500 next weekend.
A lot of damage to that car. A lot of damage. And I don't really, unless you're at the back of the pack, Jeff, I don't know that I would expect to see cars coming to pit road. Again, they were talking like they could maybe run up to around 40 laps on tires, on fuel, so a little early for pit stop.
Unless, Larry, I want to point out, these guys didn't have a lot of practice time, so it may be part of the problem. He spun way back off that corner.
Car just came around with him. Nobody was near him, just got loose with him, rear end come around, off turn 2.
This is from Chase Montgomery's car.
And I would hope that's where Chase Montgomery's spotter on top of the grandstand was saying, go low, go low,
Right.
go low.
Well, we talked about the spotters yesterday in the Dash Series race. They are so important.
They really are. I mean, their eyes, and these guys now, they're in those race cars. They have full face helmets. They have a headrest. They have head neck restraints. And your vision, your peripheral vision is not that good. And, you know, they got on the spotters. Don't drive the race cars for those drivers, but let them know what's going on around them.
As we were saying earlier, guys, I don't really know what they're going to do. But if I would have a car like Billy Venturini, who's had a problem, I'm sure you'll see Billy come down on pit road to try to work on his car. And one other thing I noticed at that little short run we did have, it looked like maybe Jason Jarrett had their problem fixed because he was able to stay right in front of the leaders.
Well, Jeff, it doesn't look like they're going to come on pit road. We'll come back to the Daytona International Speedway. You're watching ARCA REMAX Series Racing on the Speed Channel. Welcome back to the Daytona International Speedway. We're still under caution. First caution of the day coming out on lap 10. The highest running car to come to pit road, that's the 11 car there. Andy Hillenberg, a former winner of this race and the 1995 champion. The 1 car of Andy Belmont also came to pit road. Team put the hood up, put it back down. He is back on the racetrack. We'll come back for the green flag here with ARCA REMAX Series Discount Auto Parts 200. You're watching the Speed Channel. Chase Montgomery sits on pit road. To a driver competing on the ARCA REMAX Series offers a unique challenge found in no other motorsports series. ARCA runs on super speedways like Daytona, intermediate tracks like Charlotte and Atlanta, and short tracks such as Salem and Winchester. And on dirt, places like Springfield and DuQuoin, Illinois. The next race, March 9th in Atlanta. Really an impressive, diverse schedule, guys.
It really is. I mean, it's 2.5-mile racetracks like here at Daytona. It's mile dirt tracks. It's half-mile short tracks. Look at there, Pocono. A lot of the Winston Cup tracks.
Exactly right. And DuQuoin, I mean, can you believe it? These guys are still racing dirt. This is the most complete series. The ARCA REMAX Series is a fantastic series. If you want to see it all, get it done, you got to watch these guys do it and do it right.
And we're just about ready to go back racing. The caution flag displayed on lap 10. When they take the green flag, it'll be lap 15 of 80 here at the Daytona International Speedway. Bobby Gerhart is your leader. The veteran.
Green flag, come on.
Justin Labonte in the red car just behind him.
Now you see the purple car there on the inside, Jason Jarrett, the 67. He's a lap down. He was able to line up on the inside line. His vibration was an equalized tire. And what that actually means, it's one of the tires on the car. Here they run a safety ladder inside the tire. And that pressure is normally 15 to 20 pounds higher than the outside tire pressure. If you get a leak between the two, the pressures do what we call equalize, and it's a vibration that'll vibrate the fillings out of your tube.
You won't know what's going on. You don't whether you got a wheel bearing going bad, a drive shaft out round, or whatever, but a driver cannot drive it. He doesn't know exactly which one to fix either.
And people at home may wonder, well, why run an inner liner? It's a safety feature in case that tire happens to come apart.
You cut a tire down, it's a tire within a tire. It just gives you that little bit extra cushion if you do have a tire go down or cut a tire down, especially on that right front.
Bobby Gerhart in the 5. 22, young Damon Lusk, just 24 years old, running in the second position. The 05, Rick Corelli. He's from Colorado.
The High Plains Drifter.
He's won the truck series.
Exactly right. He's the veteran of this group right now.
Let's check in with Ralph Shaheen.
Well, Justin Labonte started this race inside the top 10. Now he's all the way up near the front of this field. And this is a car that he ran very well with at Talladega last year. So he is expecting good things out of this car. The only thing that kept him out of the victory circle at Talladega was a broken oil line. So if they can keep this car together today, Justin Labonte might be moving even farther to the front.
And remember, he's got Ernie Elliott power. And last year in the Winston Cup ranks, they were able to score their first victory with Ernie Elliott power. So he's got a good ride and good power in that here for the day.
But what's not good, if you look at that car right there, blank quarter panels. No sponsor right now. It's just a one-race deal here at Daytona.
Looking at the back there of Frank Kimmel's car. Frank Kimmel riding in the 5th position right now, just ahead of Justin Labonte.
And Larry, one thing I want to add, so far, early in this part of this race, I've seen a lot of give and take from a lot of these young drivers as well as a lot of the veterans, a lot of give and take.
We got to talk about giving and taking. Damon Lusk in that 22 car, he went to the high side.
Yellow's out for debris. You got a car
We
outside.
do have a caution out, though. They're saying it's a debris caution. Debris caution.
Second caution coming out on lap 17 to come back to the start-finish line. Everybody does a good job of holding their position. You're watching ARCA REMAX Series racing on the Speed Channel. We'll be back to Daytona right after this brief message. A week from today, the NASCAR Winston Cup Series will run the Daytona 500, but in 2 weeks, Fox returns to NASCAR.
All right.
We're coming back. We're coming back. It'll be the Subway 400 from the Rock, Sunday, February 24th, 12:30. I'm so excited I can't even talk.
The Hollywood Hotel will be open for business.
Oh,
Chris
no.
Myers and I will be back.
Oh.
Hey, but you got DW. You got to listen to singing.
And the Busch Series race on Saturday at 1 o'clock. And there's our leader, Bobby Gearhart, on pit road. Ralph Shaheen is there.
Oh, the key to this whole stop, Steve, is the gas man. They're going to try to get every last drop of fuel into this car that they can, and they're struggling just to get over the wall with the gas can. They're planning on only taking right side tires. That's going to be really quick, and they were slow getting over the wall with the gas can. They claim it's full. They're shoving it in again and again. Now, you would never do this 4 times. It's just gushing out of the back of the car. They have made sure that they have gotten every last, a 5th time they shoved it in there. I bet you he goes back and look at that. 6 times. Look at the fuel pouring out of the back of this car. Now, Gearhart streams away, and the streams are turning into rivers here where the gas man stands. 6 times, Steve.
Thanks, Ralph. And Billy Venturini also on pit road, took right side tires.
And at the same time, he was making a chassis adjustment, so his car must not be working like he wants it to.
But let's talk about Bobby Gearhart. Jeff, you and I talked to him this morning. He said if he had to, he could run 60 laps on fuel. He pitted on lap 20, 80 minus 20, 60. The only thing, that's 150 miles. That's a long way to run on fuel. But now he's banking, and we heard him on the in-car radio, he's banking on some cautions.
Right.
And cautions is like 2 to 1 here at Daytona. So he's out there, 4 fresh tires, full of fuel, hoping they'll get a few cautions.
Our leader, the 22 car, that's Damon Lusk, 24 years old, out of Kennewick, Washington. Made 17 ARCA REMAX starts, or has made 17 since 2000, has 5 top 10 finishes. His best finish, a 4th at Atlanta in 2000.
The only thing I don't like is a crew chief that makes me nervous about that strategy. Now he went from leading the race to about 20th back
Got to
there.
get through that pack.
Exactly.
Got to get through that pack. These restarts are going to be very dicey as we come back here to the green on lap 21. Damon Lusk brings him up through the gearbox.
Green, green, green.
We're under green once again.
We talk about cautions. Jason Jarrett in the inside. He's the one that wants to see a caution right away and try to get back on the lead lap. With that 67 car there on the inside.
How about Damon Lusk, 24 years old. He's never won the ARCA REMAX Series, but he's doing a great job so far.
Looks awful smooth right now as they come off of turn 2 and head down the back straightaway. And the car seems to be very strong as the way he pulls the pack down through there.
And Jeff, he's a Pontiac, and like a lot of these Pontiacs in the field, you found out where this car came from.
That's a Bill Davis car right there, ladies and gentlemen. Bill Davis has got a lot of Pontiacs in this
I think
field.
he had a fire sale. Of course, they went to Dodges last year in Winston Cup.
Which was a good thing for these guys because they got a good car at a good price.
Frank Kimmel in the 4th position. There's the number 50 car now. Guys, he normally runs that number 46, but as you mentioned earlier, the 50th anniversary of ARCA, and he is signifying that with that number 50. He'll go back to the number 46 after Daytona.
Back to the 46, but, you know, I think it's a fitting thing for Frank to do, especially since he's 3-time champ in as many races he's winning.
Great tribute to the Markham family who started ARCA 50 years ago.
Saw that 77 car. That's Chad Blunt, another youngster. He's from Indiana.
You see the black 82 right there. That's Robbie Benton. This is somewhat a Robert Yates, somewhat tied-in race car. This is the car that Ricky Rudd flipped 2 years ago. Here come to take the checkered flag in the Bud Shootout. Robert Yates and those guys were not going to fix it. They peeled the body off. They found another body at Robert Yates Racing to put on the car, and Robert Yates is supplying the engine.
Damon Lusk in the 22 continues to lead, running nose to tail, 7-8 cars deep. Let's check in with Ralph Shaheen to talk about fuel strategy.
I checked with Billy Gerhardt, the crew chief for Bobby Gerhardt, about how many yellows they're going to need now that they shoved all that fuel into the car. He says we need 3 laps under yellow. That's all it's going to take. And right now, he runs in 25th, hoping for just 3 laps of yellow.
Now, Larry, you mentioned the 2-to-1 situation. Explain that a little bit further.
Well, again, when you're under caution, you're not wide open on the throttle. You're using a lot less fuel. So what we would figure in our gas mileage formula is every caution lap, 2 caution laps will be equal to 1 green lap just because you're not using near as much fuel.
Now, one thing we need to be mindful of, Larry, Bobby has gotten away from the pack. He may wind up being out in front of a group leading them. And you know there, he burn more fuel, so they've got to be careful with track position.
When you're in the draft, you're definitely using a lot less fuel.
Battle for second. Damon Lusk in the 22 continues to lead. They come off turn 4.
Gets a little loose off that corner right there, though.
That's Chad Blunt, the young man from Walkerton, Indiana, in that 77. The 05, the veteran Rick Corelli, 47 years old, out of Arvada, Colorado.
The sponsor on that 77 car is APP Gas. I asked the PR guy, what is APP Gas? It's the first prepaid gasoline car that you can use at a service station.
Get you one?
No. I asked him for one. He told me where I could purchase one.
Oh!
Nothing for free,
no
is it?
special treatment for McReynolds.
You see Jason Jarrett, he's stuck back there with Rick Corelli in the 05, Frank Kimmel in the 50 car, still hoping to get a caution, get up there and get his lap back.
Coming around to take the finish, the 26th lap of 80 here today at the Daytona International Speedway. Damon Lusk is your leader. Starting tomorrow night, join us all week here for Speed Week on the Speed Channel. Complete coverage of the Daytona International Speedway, all the events. Darrell Waltrip, some guys named McReynolds and Hammond will be joined by driver guests every night, and we'll bring you the latest news from the World Center of Racing. Speed Week on the Speed Channel, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern, only on the Speed Channel.
And we will have fun.
I'll watch that show.
Absolutely.
On board with Rick Corelli, running in the 3rd position. 4 cars out of the event right now. The 69 of Jeff Spraker, the 75 Michael Vergers, the 04 of Pete Seegers, and the 34 of Basham.
You know, it's really a shame about that Jeff Spraker car because our buddy DW helped him with that car to try to get him down here so he have an opportunity to race at Daytona.
Well, now, hang on. Define help.
It was one of Darrell's cars, and he helped him out a little bit with that. And,
you know, one car that's done a really good job today, I want to go back and talk about her just a little bit. The 66 car, Tina Gordon, the white car right there. She's running in 8th. Started out 9th. I talked to her and her husband. We got the caution on the speedway. Got another caution.
3rd caution of the day coming out on lap 30. Haven't heard yet what it's for.
It is a debris caution, another debris
Three on
caution.
the track. Coming out on lap 30, our third of the day. You're watching ARCA REMAX Series action. It's the 39th annual Discount Auto Parts 200, and it's on the Speed Channel. Hey, there's a little show that I'm sort of fond of.
Yeah.
Totally NASCAR. Tomorrow night, the first show of 2002. You can see it Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern on Speed Channel.
Steve Burns every night, Larry McReynolds Monday night, Jeff Hammond on Wednesday night.
Exactly. And I want to say one thing.
What's that?
Welcome back, and I can't wait to get on there tomorrow night with you.
We're glad to be back. All right, under caution for the third time today, and we're going to have some action on pit road, boys.
Definitely full of fuel. I'm going to say we're going to see a few two-tire stops, right side only.
Exactly. And the thing also, Larry, we need to watch is who's going to wind up being the leader when all this kind of shakes out. I think the gentleman we talked about, Bobby Gerhart.
Come down pit road 55 miles an hour.
22, Damon Lusk.
Probably see all the teams at least change two tires because it's going to take that long to at least dump that much fuel in it. Rick Corelli, in the 05 car, he takes two tires. Looks like the 22 and the 77, though, they are going to go with four tires.
Busy pit road here at Daytona. 77, Cat Blunt, 22 years old, out of Walkerton, Indiana. Four tires, Frank Kimmel.
Frank Kimmel gets four tires. And I think what we see on the four tires, there you see Frank Kimmel, one car having to go all the way out in the grass right there. The four tires, a lot, Jeff, it's not that it'll make it run faster, it just grips a little better, gives you a little more security, especially out there in the draft and in traffic.
And again, we need to talk about this is a new tire here at Daytona for these guys, and they didn't get a lot of practice. 20 minutes to be exact is all they've got an opportunity to really run this tire. So maybe to be on the safe side, they're changing and putting four on.
Now, how about a leader? Shelby Howard, 16 years old. Larry, you talked to him the other day. It's a great story.
Yeah, he homeschools, and he takes his teacher and tutor with him everywhere he goes. He qualified on Thursday. When he was finished qualifying, he went to his truck and took a biology test.
Ralph Shaheen, tell us more.
Yeah, and I spoke to them as well this morning, and last night it was more biology and algebra added to the curriculum last night.
Oh, that's scary, that algebra stuff.
That's 1 + 1, right?
When they added ABXY, I started crying. 16 years old, no big deal, just leading the race. Shelby Howard, another Indiana native out of Greenwood, Indiana.
When we're coming to the green flag, I asked him, I said, what did you think about Daytona? Did it intimidate you? He said, I've just tried to come here and not think about it being Daytona.
Hey, let's talk about this. As he takes the green flag, his spotter said that he saw rain behind turn one. He stayed out.
And the 5 car of Bobby Gerhart got a really good jump and tried to take the lead early on, but it didn't quite get done.
Just remember, that was only a couple of caution laps, but that was equal to like 1 lap for Bobby Gerhart, because if he can get another caution with a few laps, it should put him safely in that fuel window that he's banking on.
And Larry, you're talking about Tina Gordon. She's running in the second position in that 66.
Well, and I talked to her and her husband quite a bit the other day, and I actually talked to her crew chief, and he says, he took me off the side, he said, I'm telling you, this girl has a great feel for a race car. And what I was impressed about it, she ran All-Pro for a couple of full seasons, Southern All-Stars, and she had a couple opportunities to do some bush racing, but she's got the right idea. She said they were not good bush rides, and I got the philosophy that a bad bush ride is better than no bush ride. But what I'm seeing here, she could be something we're going to be talking about for a lot in the future.
Tina Gordon from Cedar Bluff, Alabama, 32 years old. Let's check in now with Ralph Shaheen.
Well, it's getting a little rainy down here, and Tony Stewart's grabbing on my legs. I try to crawl up to Dale Jarrett's trailer here to get a word with him. But it's starting to drizzle a little bit, guys. I don't know if it's going to be enough to really cause a problem, but it is starting to get a little bit wet.
All right, thank you very much, Ralph. 67, Jason Jarrett.
And the 27 to Chase Montgomery. Both these cars are a lap down. So they're trying to get back and stay in front of this group in case they get a caution flag, and some people are having reports of rain on the
best thing they can do, Jeff, is work with each other. Don't start racing each other. Stay in line,
Stay in line.
like they're doing.
No caution.
in line.
Caution still not out.
And what these guys are looking for, we're at lap 35. 40 laps is halfway. Once we complete 40 laps, the race is at least an official race should we have rain. So that's why they'll race so hard these next 5 laps, anticipating getting to halfway.
Might have been a good call by Shelby Howard's crew chief then. Stay out.
Well, we heard a lot of people on the scanner before that caution asking, what does the weather look like?
You have to complete the 41st lap for it to be an official race. You know, the skies over towards 3 and 4 aren't that bad, but it does look ominous at the other end of the speedway.
Yes, it does. I'll turn 1 and 2 out there.
It's raining hard.
You're saying on the scanner. A lot of times the guy leading the race will be the one saying how hard it's raining.
That's right.
The guys in the back say, no, it's not raining out here.
And there's Tina Gordon. Look at that in the 66 in that pack of traffic. And look how dark those clouds are.
It's definitely getting darker and darker, and you kind of watch the camera lens here to get a little debris on it, but you'll see rain starting to get on the camera lens right there.
And everybody's starting to get really racy back there in the back, like they're trying to get to this halfway point just in case.
Talk about getting racy. There he is, Bobby Gearhart in that 5 car. He goes after the lead right there, bringing Rick Corelli with him.
As far as you see in front, a lap down, Jason Jarrett, Chase Montgomery.
And right now, this close to halfway, with the weather being like this, Bobby Gearhart would be better to ride with those guys right there. Let's stay in line. Let's keep these 5 cars in line. Don't let that second pack catch up to us.
Bobby Gearhart pitted earlier. His strategy playing out at the moment. He's leading. When they come to the start-finish line this time, it'll complete lap 38. Out the back, Chase Montgomery's number 27. Looking at our leader, Bobby Gearhart.
Chase Montgomery trying to keep Bobby behind him, keep him off with Jason Jarrett so they can stay in front of the leader in case the caution does come out. Larry, noticing the way the wind has changed, it may be bringing that rain this direction, so these guys need to stay after it.
Yeah, the clouds are off turn 1 and 2. The flag's blowing straight toward turn 3 and 4, so that tells us the weather's coming our way. These guys getting a little bit of racy right here now. Well, I am impressed with that 64 car, Shelby Howard. He only ran 5 races in 2001, had 2 top 10 finishes, but he plans on running for Rookie of the Year this year, all the races in 2002. And that's actually a Johnny Benson ex-Winston Cup car, one of the 10 cars that he's driving.
I'd like to add here, this gentleman may be 16 years of age, but last year he's had a lot of experience running the super speedways, and that's the reason why ARCA allows him to run in a place like Daytona.
That's a good point, Ed. We just saw Rick Corelli in that 05. Now, he is a veteran. 47 years old. He's won in Winston West, the Truck Series. He's a veteran of stock car racing.
We're definitely starting to see some rain over there in turn 1 and 2. It'll just be a matter of how much it gets on the racetrack before they throw a caution flag.
They're actually coming to the halfway lap, lap 40. They need to complete lap 41. Of course, that can be completed under caution, but we hope that rain's going to go out of here and we can run 80 laps of racing.
Yeah, just a shower.
Clearing off shower.
They are really getting dicey back in the pack, too. I see a 3 wide as they come off of turn 4.
Third car in your picture, that's Bobby Gearhart. He is your leader.
Halfway.
We are
40.
halfway.
And what's good about these cars staying in line, these 3 cars and 2 lap cars, they have put almost 4 seconds on that second group. That's because they're staying in line. The draft is working. That lead car, Jason Jarrett, the 67, he's poking a hole there, and as long as those cars stay in line, they will be able to pull away. And we do have a caution out for rain.
Larry, I want to clear up something, too. Jason Jarrett is listed in the 33rd position. The 27th, Chase Montgomery, is in the 34th position.
And they will be able to go all the way around and make their lap up, because it's going to be in the tail end of the field.
Caution out for the 4th time today on lap 40 for a rain shower at the west end of the speedway, turns 1 and 2.
And Steve, they do not run back to the caution flag. When the caution comes out, everyone holds their position.
We're halfway, 80 laps of a 200-mile event here at the Daytona International Speedway, and you're watching the Speed Channel. Welcome back to the Daytona International Speedway. We are under caution for the 4th time today of this ARCA REMAX Series event, and you can see why. It's raining here in Daytona. Steve Burns alongside Larry McReynolds and Jeff Hammond. Ralph Shaheen's on pit road. There's the rain on Frank Kimmel's camera.
It's getting harder, I believe.
But there's blue sky on the horizon. We see it.
I just think, as we said earlier, this will pass really quickly. But again, one of the biggest things you got to worry about is how wet the racetrack gets, is how long it'll take before we can get back to some at-speed racing.
Yeah, good point. Let's check in now with Ralph Shaheen. Ralph?
Well, I've just caught up with Dale Jarrett, who's got a lot of things going on here today. His son Jason has been running in the ARCA REMAX race here today, and of course you've got to run in the Bud Shootout a little bit later on here today. Now Jason's tire equalized on him, and you were telling me a little bit about how tough that is, and it's even worse here at Daytona. How bad?
Yeah, it's whenever it happens here, it just causes a huge vibration, and a lot of the times you can't even hold on to the steering wheel if it's in the front tire. So he did a good job just staying out there as long as he could, trying to get a caution, but then almost got 2 laps down, and now just got back in the lead lap. So this all worked out. Hate to see rain, but it came at a nice time. I think he's got a good race car, and he did a great job there, so hopefully he can get back up front.
Well, if you and I were sitting out at the beach, we wouldn't worry too much about this. We'd just go get something to eat, say, it'll blow over, and we'll just go back out and get some more sun. But you got to do some racing a little later. What will this rain shower do to the racetrack?
Well, it's going to clean it off a little bit, but they've got some more racing to do, so the rubber will actually get back down. It's not going to affect it that much. This is a worn-out track anyway, so it's not going to affect it too much. Yeah. It's going to cool things off a little bit and probably make for a little bit more grip. Should make for a little more exciting racing.
How will you do your strategy for the shootout now, knowing what you've seen out of the ARCA race and what you know with the rain?
Well, what I've seen basically in our practice and everything and watching the same thing in the ARCA, it looks like that the passing that we're going to get done with the rules the way they are now is more to the outside. You've really got to have help to pass somebody on the inside. You've got to have a group of cars that are just wanting to put somebody out there and hang them out. And but it looks like if you can get a run, you can hold somebody down inside, and that's going to be the passing we're going to see. So that makes for exciting racing.
You know what it's all about, racing with a famous last name based on what your father did. You've seen what Jason's been doing now, and you've been real upfront with all the media and saying, I'm not helping him. He's doing this all on his own. How proud are you of what he's done, and where is he best, and where is he weakest?
Well, I think that he just needs more experience is the biggest thing at high-speed racetracks. He's a great short-track driver. He's got a lot of talent, and he's got a tough situation to live up to, and he is doing this on his own. He put this ARCA deal together. He's made it work. He has a great group of people he's working with, and he works extremely hard, and I'm very proud of him for that. And I think more than anything, the comments that I get from the people that he worked with, the people in the ARCA series, come up and tell me what a fine young man he is, and that means as much as anything to me. And you know, I think that other people pay attention too. Last weekend, as we were at Talladega testing, I could only be there one day because of another commitment, and Jason was able to drive my cars on Saturday. So shows that Robert Yates and Todd Parrott and Jimmy Ellis, these guys pay attention too, that knowing that they had confidence in him, he could go do that.
Well, you know, guys, we talk a lot about looking for the traits passed on from father to son, and one trait, obviously, that Jason has inherited from his dad and from his grandfather is the gentlemanly nature of the Jarrett family.
Boy, that's exactly right, Ralph. As they say, guys, the apple doesn't roll too far from the tree, and what a fine tree it is in the Jarrett family.
It is that, but I tell you, talk about apples. When I was over at his car a couple of days ago, consulting on that race car, Charles Red Farmer. Red Farmer's been racing, and
it's dirt.
Yeah, I mean, he's older than dirt, I think. But I think having somebody like Red Farmer there kind of as a mentor to him, along with a good race team, it all certainly makes a difference as well.
And that brings us to a very good point, I think, Larry. When you talk about somebody like that, who's been around the sport for so long, and why? Because he loves to race. Red Farmer loves to race. It doesn't make any difference if it's ARCA, Winston Cup, or a dirt race in Alabama. He loves to race.
He will be racing. Now you see him, this is on the backstretch. The red flag has been displayed here at lap 44. We are well past halfway. They're going to park him on the backstretch and see if this weather won't move out for us just a little bit.
And Bobby Gerhart is the leader in the 5 car. The 05 of Rick Corelli is second. 64 car of Shelby Howard, our 16-year-old from Indiana, is listed at 3rd. And 3-time series champion Frank Kimmel 4th. Chad Blunt, another youngster, is 5th. We'll come back as the weather clears up here in Daytona. Welcome back to Daytona, the International Speedway that opened in 1959. It is wet. That is wet.
Those are the only guys that are happy right now.
but that's the infield, Lake Lloyd here at Daytona. But it has quit raining and the sun has reemerged. Hey, tomorrow night on Speed Channel, it's the debut of Speed Week on the Speed Channel. Our nightly wrap-up of all the action from Daytona. We'll bring you all the news from the World Center of Racing. Plus tomorrow, a look at Dale Earnhardt Incorporated 1 year after the accident that claimed the life of team owner Dale Earnhardt. We'll talk with Dale Earnhardt Jr. and teammate Kenny Wallace about the upcoming season, plus a recap of Bud Pole qualifying for the Daytona 500 and the Budweiser Shootout, and all the fun you would expect from Darrell Waltrip, Larry McReynolds, and Jeff Hammond. It's Speed Week on the Speed Channel Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern, only on Speed Channel. Now that's a comprehensive show.
Absolutely informative.
And Larry, I expect you to help me with our driver battle.
But I have to work with him every week.
But this week, you and I ought to take care of it. You ought to tag team with me.
You think we can do it in a week?
Well, it'd be fun to try. I think Ralph Shaheen's got something for us down in the garage.
Well, they just turned the radar back on. We're at the NASCAR trailer. Oh, look at that. Here they go looking for another weather shot for us, and they're going to update it for us here real quick. They're selecting their Winston Cup track, latest weather. You can see all that happening. It's going to give us a great picture of the state of Florida, normally known as the Sunshine State, and right now that sun is starting to break out just a little bit. It looks like there's just one big cloud burst over us, and that's it. It seems to be very clear. Here it comes. You can see the screen filling up now. There's a lot of water off here in over the ocean, and then right there in the center of that big circle you can see Daytona Beach, and it seems to be moving from the west, from Orlando and Tampa east, and right out into the ocean, following all these rain clouds that are already out there. So it's very clear back here, and we should be good to go racing here. Everything seems to be nice and sunny over at Disneyland, Disney World, and all that, so we should be racing over here real soon.
Hey, Ralph.
Yeah.
That big body of water you're pointing to?
Yes.
That's the Atlantic Ocean.
Yes, I noticed that.
Okay. Well, I figured since you just got off your honeymoon, you might be a little rusty since you were at the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah, but Ralph, he's not
that's
used
the
to...
ocean I grew up next to was the Pacific. I knew that one
He's
well.
more used to the Caribbean seas and things
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. Hey, Ralph, congratulations.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Kimberly and I are very excited.
All right, great. And we're happy and excited because the sun is out.
Yes, sir.
Now, let's talk about Bobby Gerhart. His strategy, is it going to work?
I believe so. I believe this has played right into Bobby Gerhart's hand. We talked about he needed 3 laps. This should easily get him into the probably 5 or 6 lap window, so fuel should not be an option or a problem for him.
Yeah, he pitted on lap 20. That's 60 laps to go. He told us this morning if he needed to, with a few cautions, he could run 60 laps. They've already ran about 3 or 4 cautions. We know when they get this racetrack dry, they're not going to drive off the backstretch and come around and take the green flag. They're going to run 2 or 3 caution laps. Every one of those caution laps just saves a little more fuel, a little more fuel. Now he's back at the front, where when they do go back racing, it's a little easier to save fuel because you're up there leading the draft.
Well, a couple of things I think we need to talk about. When we have a red flag condition, though, as far as a crew chief's standpoint, you get real nervous whether or not you've got a problem with your car. Maybe the brakes get a little bit warped as far as the rotors are concerned, whether the car is going to restart. A lot of times, a red flag condition can bring the little demons out in the race car that you really don't want. As you can see, the way the cars are lined up, they're put in a position where if they don't refire because the battery doesn't work well, they can get a push start from one of the record drivers.
You know everything.
And as a crew chief, if there wasn't something to worry about, we would come up with something to worry about, trust me, especially on the red flag.
Probably like where we're going to eat at tonight, maybe.
Let's take a look at a full field summary so we can show you where everybody is.
There's
Bobby
the sun.
Gerhart. Yeah, we see the sun. Bobby Gerhart is the leader, followed by Corelli. And our 16-year-old, I'm assuming he passed his biology exam.
I don't think they would let him race if he didn't.
No.
Outstanding job. And there's the veteran Frank Kimmel, though, in 4th place. You can't count him out.
1995 champ Andy Hillenberg. And another young driver, Nate Monteith, doing a great job in that 17 car.
And Justin Labonte, he's still hanging tough.
Casey Mears, the son of Roger Mears. He's going to run the full Busch Series schedule for the Welliver Jessel car.
Tina Gordon there, she keeps hanging out in that top 10, top 15 there in 15th place. And Billy Venturini, outside pole sitter, had some problems early. He's back to 19th.
Well, an 18th. Look, Todd Bowser started 41st and has worked his way up through the field today.
21 through 30, Jerry Hill at the top of that chart. Vern Slag, our 62-year-old veteran.
Now there's Jason Jarrett and Chase Montgomery. Remember, they got their lap back. They're back on the lead lap. They're 33rd and 34th.
Robbie Benton in 35th position, the first car a lap down. Darrell Basham, one of 4 cars officially out of the race. Well, the sun is out here in Daytona Beach, Florida. We'll be back. Hopefully, we'll restart the race here during Speed Weeks 2002 on the Speed Channel. Well, as you can see, our ARCA drivers are back underway, under caution. We've completed officially 44 laps. Let's take a look at where they stand as we get this race restarted. The veterans, Bobby Gearhart and Rick Corelli, sandwiching, Frank Kimmel that is, sandwiching the 16-year-old Shelby Howard.
And we did hear he got an 80 on that biology test. That's the reason they probably approved him to run this race.
Oh, algebra, that's scary. 11 through 20. Justin Labonte, who's had a good day. He's the 11th position. And Tina Gordon, you mentioned her, Larry. She's doing a terrific job as well.
Keeping her nose clean, giving and taking, being patient.
Take a look at 31 through 40. Ron Cox, Rookie of the Year 2 years ago from Soddy Daisy, Tennessee. As we said, Darrell Basham out of the race in the 34 car. Looking at Rick Corelli. You know, guys, from that view, it looks like the track is pretty good shape.
They've done a good job of drying it. The jet dryers, I think the wind has played a big role in it. They'll run them 2 or 3 caution laps. We'll be back here racing.
Yeah, and they won't turn them loose unless the track is safe.
Again, now the laps do count under caution. We've just completed our 45th lap. 80 laps.
All these laps do count, even though they're run under caution. Once they just pulled the red flag in, put the yellow flag back out, we're back officially racing just under caution.
I'd like to add, too, Larry, watching down on pit road, I've seen a lot of the teams kind of go through their same pre-race ritual before they restarted this race. They all get together, kind of put their heads in a circle and talk about what they're going to do, pit strategies, and kind of get refocused to the fact we've had a rain delay, had a race stoppage, but we got to go back racing, guys. So, hey, get your mind back on what's going on.
We are seeing some cars come to pit road. The 66, Tina Gordon, she's coming to pit road. Billy Venturini in the 25, he's on pit road. The 36 car of Casey Mears, all these cars coming to pit road.
Mark, whoa it down, whoa it down. Come on, good, good. Turn your wheel to the left. A little more, hold it there, hold it right there.
All right, you hear him telling her to whoa it down. Pit road's very wet. And the problem was you built the fenders so tight to these tires. Evidently, she had her wheels turned just a little bit too much to the right. They couldn't get the right front tire off. 4 tires for Tina Gordon. Full of fuel.
Go ahead. Go, go, go,
Also
go.
notice that our pole sitter, Chase Montgomery, as well as Jason Jarrett, elected to come to pit road and do some more service to their cars.
And they had nothing to lose. They were at the tail end of the lead lap cars, so why not come in and get 4 fresh tires, make some chassis adjustments as you see on the 27 of Chase Montgomery. Now, Billy Venturini and the 25, they have his hood up on the car and have it jacked up in the front.
Billy Venturini, the outside pole sitter.
Looks to me like they're doing some repair work on Casey Mears' car.
All right, guys, let's check in now with Ralph Shaheen. Ralph?
Well, Steve, you can take a look here on pit road. You can see there's some really dark spots and then some lighter gray spots. The dark gray is where it's still wet. The crews have been out there with brooms trying to dry things off. As Donnie pans up a little bit out towards the center of the racetrack in the trioval, you'll see how much lighter the gray area is on the racing surface, which is actually nice and dry. The racetrack itself is ready to go racing. Pit road, the drivers are still going to have to be careful, as you just saw, and it will still be a little bit slow.
All right, thanks very much, Ralph. Jack drop on the 25. Billy Venturini back underway. Still see clouds over turn 1 between 1 and 2. 64, Shelby Howard on pit road.
Now, that's something I question right there is why would you bring him in on the second time by like that right there? And unless you either have a problem or you're worried about whatever. Missed the golden opportunity to keep up with the pack.
Yeah, he's one of the cars that had not been to pit road. He needed the pit to at least get fuel in it, but I'm like Jeff, I'd have been in that first time by. If you notice here, all the pit crew members see them wearing the safety helmets. That's something that was mandated in 2002 for all divisions in NASCAR and ARCA. If you go across the wall, you have to wear safety headgear. What a great move after the situation with Robert Yates Racing in Homestead, Florida, at the end of 2001.
Yeah, it was a dangerous situation. Bobby Burrell was hurt, front tire changer, but understand he's doing great now, and we'll be back for Robert Yates, working on that 28 car again.
Well, he's already back. Andy Hillenberg, the number 11. Remember, Andy Hillenberg tested the 28 Winston Cup car down here over the winter while Ricky Rudford recovers from back surgery. The entire pit crew, including Burrell, John Bryant, the Jackman, all of those guys are pitting Andy Hillenberg. They are all back at work.
Oh, that's great news, Larry. Well, we're just about to cut them loose. We hope. Bobby Gerhart is the leader. Rick Corelli running second. You're watching ARCA REMAX Series Racing on the Speed Channel. And we're about a lap away from restarting the 39th Annual Discount Auto Parts 200. You're watching ARCA REMAX Series Racing on the Speed Channel. Steve Burns, Larry McReynolds, Jeff Hammond, and Ralph Shaheen with you. 64, let's talk about Shelby Howard.
Well, come to find out, they had too many people talk on the radio at one time, and it cost them a bunch. They were running third. When the caution came out, they should have came in on the first caution lap instead. Because of too many people talking at one time, he stayed out and had to come in on the second time, 5, and it's cost him a bunch, from third back to 31st.
I want to give a call to Robert Burrows here in the 53 car. He started back in 26th position. He's running in 8th. He's another one of these guys. He's 48 years old. He just enjoys racing ARCA REMAX Series. But this year, he has decided to run the entire schedule. He owns a diesel company in Laurel, Mississippi, just enjoys racing, flies his own airplane. But he says, hey, I think I want to try this whole schedule this year.
As we said, it's a great series to run, and there's the leader, Bobby Gerhart, in that 5 car. Bobby's from Lebanon, Pennsylvania, 43 years old.
I'd like to point out one thing right now, Steve. You got Bobby Gerhart leading this race. He's won here before, but you've also got a situation where in 6th place, Andy Hillenberg, a former winner here, also is right there in position to possibly get him another win.
You see, Andy won this race in 95 and 97. He won the series championship in 95. Continuing under caution, Bobby Gerhart, your leader. We've completed 49 of 80 laps. Here's Billy Venturini.
Back in 33rd position. We've seen him on pit road a while ago with the front end jacked up. What they did, they pulled a spring rubber out of the right front. That decreases the rate of that right front spring. What that tells me, Jeff, his car was not turning, pushing. Front end would not stick off turn 2. They softened that right front spring up by pulling that adjustable spring rubber out.
Check in with Ralph Shaheen. Ralph?
Well, you know, yesterday after happy hour practice, Larry Mack, Billy had 400 pounds of front spring put into that car because the car was not handling properly. And he told me just before the start of the race, he says, I'm going to look either really smart or really stupid. So there you go. There's his adjustment back.
Maybe they made a right adjustment. We get a green flag, 30 laps to go. We're back racing here.
Bobby Gerhart got a good jump right there, Larry, but as we've seen before at Daytona, you get too much of a gap right there on a group, they'll run you down and pass you.
And Jeff, Larry, the 3rd car back in that picture, that's Frank Kimmel.
He's just been nipping away. We were talking earlier, and I think we had a caution come out. Frank was not that pleased with his qualifying run with that Ford Taurus, but he said, Larry, I just believe this car will draft good. And we see this a lot with cars at Daytona and Talladega. By themselves, they just don't go through the air that well, but when you put them in the draft, you put them in dirty air and get your car to drive good. That's the key here at Daytona. Make it handle where you never have to lift off the throttle all the way through the race.
Exactly, Larry. You've got to make a car handle at this speedway. Unlike Talladega, if you don't handle up off these corners at Daytona, you've got to squeeze up out of the gas. Everybody will drive by you down these long straightaways.
Hard to believe Frank Kimmel, as successful as he's been in ARCA Series competition, has never won this race.
He definitely told me on Thursday that one of their weak links has been the Daytona-Talladega program, and he had even asked me, they talked about, you know, maybe doing their bodies out of house, letting someone else maybe put their bodies on just to get that, maybe someone that works for the Winston Cup team to get some of that Winston Cup technology.
There you see Kimmel's record at Daytona, 10 starts, just 1 top 5 and 5 top 10s. He wants to crack into the winner's circle. riding with Frank Kimmel behind our leader, Bobby Gerhart. Rick Pirelli, the high-flying drifter, as Jeff Amos said, is second.
And he's hanging on. I tell you, as we had that shot out of Frank Kimmel's car, Rick Pirelli's car, his car's a little nervous in the rear, dancing around just a little bit loose.
And right
we got trouble right here, right on the short street, car in the wall.
That's the 48 car, Kevin Belmont, Andy Belmont's brother.
And Steve, I was looking at it just as they come off that corner. It looked like he just got loose and turned it back up. Overcorrected, I should say, and turned it up into the wall because of that.
One of the things that will get you in trouble. We do have caution on the speedway again.
Fifth caution of the day coming on lap 52, Kevin Belmont. One car accident, hitting the wall pretty hard, heavy damage to the right side of that automobile.
And hats off to the rest of the field because they got through there without it making it worse.
Here's a look at the replay. Belmont coming up in the middle of that pack.
And one of the worst things, you see right there, the white car, the red car got in the back of him. He could see the wreck happening, but the car right here, the number 6 car, he could not see it. He was about to run over that white car.
Shelby Howard in the white car. 6 car driven by Mike Harmon. Take another look.
He made an abrupt turn down to the inside. Car just wouldn't take it. Got a little bit loose with him. And as you said, Jeff, overcorrected.
Yeah, but if you look a little further forward, it looks like that 32, or the orange car, got a little loose right there. He may have overcorrected for that. He didn't realize what was going to happen. He kind of like wrecked himself. Very lucky, very lucky for Shelby Howard because he could have been caught up in this melee real easy. Again, that's why you've got to stay on top of everything when the crew chief and the driver are trying to talk, and we see rain starting to fall again on the speedway.
Officially, we've completed 53 of 80 laps. This event set for 200 miles. Discount Auto Parts 200, the ARCA RE/MAX Series, here on the Speed Channel. His window net is down. That's a good sign.
That's a good sign. The drivers are told at the drivers meeting, if you're involved in an accident, please drop the window net. That's a signal to the emergency workers, hey, I'm okay. Everything's good. But it's starting to rain really hard. Look off turn 1 and 2. Looks like a monsoon coming our way.
Yeah, this is a little bigger shower than the last one.
A little more than a clearing shower.
Where's Ralph? He told us there was nothing coming behind this deal, and we just kind of got ourselves focused and ready and geared up for a really great finish.
He had the radar thing going, color, Doppler, weather radar.
Larry, you're the only one that can give us weather like it needs to be given.
It's because I watch it all the time. When I can't watch it, I get my wife Linda to tape it.
There you go.
He tapes the Weather Channel.
And then we see him walking away from his car, and it is raining extremely hard.
And the harness he has on, that's one of the head and neck restraint devices. It's called the Hutchins device.
Looky here. Billy Gerhart. Excited.
Doing the rain dance. Ralph Shaheen's down there.
Well, see, that was what the problem was with my weather forecast. Billy Gerhart's been down here doing the rain dance, begging for more of those cautions. And it looks like you're going to get the lucky break you were hoping for, huh?
Well, I'll tell you what, we've always, last few years, worked on our fuel mileage and our horsepower. Our engine guys have done such a good job. I'll tell you what, this ARCA RE/MAX Series, this is awesome. To be here, lead this race the way we did. It's such a great series. I don't know, I just love this rain, I'm telling you. I think we'd have made it anyway. Our window is about 57 laps green, and we got all these cautions, just a warrior. I think we're in good shape, but let it rain.
Now, I watched you when you were making that decision. You thought about it real hard for about 10 seconds, and then you just got on the radio and made the call, which is what a crew chief has to do. But there was some discussion up in the booth between our 2 crew chiefs up there, Jeff Hammond and Larry McReynolds, about what kind of price you would have to have paid had you guessed wrong. What do you think your brother would have said?
Well, I'll tell you what, our motto is when we run ARCA, we run to win. And if we'd have ran out with 2 to go, you know what? We run out. We run hard. We got to gamble sometimes to win these races. Traffic is such a problem here. You know, I don't know. If we would have ran out, Bobby would have been mad, but he'd have been over it by tomorrow.
Hey, it's a monsoon. We're getting drenched down here.
Hey, Ralph, I'm glad Billy didn't listen to you in your weather report.
Yeah, well, I can tell you pretty safely right now, it's wet. Because I'm going to look like a drowned rat here in about all of 2 seconds.
It looks like checker flag is getting ready to come out.
Hey, guys, the race has been called. It's official. You're the winner.
It's over! Yeah, it's over!
How about that?
I mean, stop.
Oh, man.
Well, we got Dan
Tell you right now, it
Gerhardt here.
doesn't
What
get
do you
any
think
better to
about your
win.
boys today?
I love it, and I'll tell you something. I think he would have won it regardless, but I was doing the rain days back there. I'll tell you. Terrific.
So, Billy, now that the race has been called, what's the plan now for the rest of the season? As you get off here, as the sun's already popping back out, I guess now that you got the victory, here comes the sunshine to shine on you. Is this the championship team this year?
Well, I hope so. You know, we need some help financially. I hope we can attract some help. We're a winning team, there's no doubt about it. We're going to try to make the 500 next week. Just one more thing. My dad has taken Bobby and I to victory lane so many times. Now we're going to take Dad.
How does it feel to you to be able to go to victory lane with your boys today?
Oh, I love it. They were there to see me lots of times. I'm not going to be there to see that.
Steve?
All right, thanks, Ralph. Well, if the sun could come out all it wants to now, this race is in the books as Bobby Gerhardt, riding around in the monsoon, is your winner. We'll talk to him when we come back.
This Speed Channel presentation brought to you by RE/MAX. Outstanding agents, outstanding results.
And let's go right to victory lane. Ralph Sheheen with the victorious Bobby Gerhardt.
Well, he's crawling over the car. Brother Billy is here. A lot of celebrating going on down here. Well, Bobby, they were praying for rain down here, and they got it. What kind of prayers were you saying in the car today?
Not too much. I knew we had, if not the best car, it was close. And I was right where I wanted to be, and that's up front.
Now, here's your dad coming in here. We got the whole Gerhardt family.
I am today. I get the opportunity to give back to this guy what he gave me for 20 years, and that's hundreds and hundreds of trips to victory lane. Thank you. Good job. Thank you. Wow, couldn't be no better.
Well, this is your second win here at Daytona, and now you're trying to make the field for the Daytona 500. What kind of a boost does this give you as you head towards Thursday, the 2125?
That's certainly a big boost, but, you know, we got a big plate over there to chop into, and as expected, we got a little late start. We only got a couple laps before we had to qualify, and I'm not sure how big the party's going to be, but that may change which way we're going to go here. Let me be.
Well, Billy was taking a gamble on the gas, and we were wondering if he guessed wrong, what kind of payback you would give him. How bad would you have gotten on him if he had guessed wrong and the cautions come?
Well, let me tell you something. He's guessed for 15 years. He hasn't been wrong yet. And I'm not going to say a 20. I didn't question it. But he said we run our race. And what they do, they do. And that's basically what we've always done. And here we are again.
There are many of us that come to Daytona as fans, but none of us will have the opportunity to pull in the victory lane like you have. And it doesn't matter which division. It's still a victory at Daytona. Can you put it into words what it's like?
Well, I think the last time I was here, probably only sat in maybe 6 or 7 months after it was over. It's just one heck of a boost for everybody, not only all my sponsors, James Chevrolet, Northeast Ford, AK Builders. I mean, I don't know what else to say. We get a lot of contingent support. To everybody that supports me, thank you. To all the people that work for Bobby Gerhardt's Truck World. I'm not the easiest guy at times to work for, I know, but we get a little intense, and this is why.
Hey, guess what? You're a two-time winner at Daytona. Congratulations.
Sure, it certainly feels great. Thanks, man. Thanks. Hi, everybody.
All right, thanks, Ralph. Let's take a look at the top 10 rundown from the Discount Auto Parts 200 here at the Daytona International Speedway. Bobby Gerhardt, two-time winner of this event now, followed by the veteran Rick Corelli, the defending champion Frank Kimmel.
And, you know, the thing I want to say, I know we were rain shortened, but I believe the best race car won the race. I mean, this guy gave up the lead on lap 20, went all the way back in the field, and you know, I'm tickled to death for Billy Gerhardt. I've probably got my crew chief hat on a little bit, but it's such a great
You better have
to make a call like that to come to win a race, but I think the best car won the race.
I cannot concur more, Larry, because we went down that garage area this morning and we talked to these guys and they knew what they wanted to do. They called their shot. They came into this race with a plan. They executed. They stayed patient and they prevailed.
And they're in victory lane.
Exactly.
And guys, let's follow up on some of the other stories and drivers we talked about today. Chase Montgomery, our pole sitter, 18 years old, finished 21st. Tina Gordon did a great job, 27th. Jason Jarrett came back from that equalized tire to finish 19th. Shelby Howard, tough break, was in the 3rd position. The 16-year-old but he'll finish 28th.
I think some of these cars had a much better run than what their finish shows. Just had to make that pit stop there, and then we run a couple of laps. Caution comes out, and then the rain comes.
And a lot of these guys are young drivers. Hopefully, they will learn from coming down here, making some mistakes, and they'll carry it into the future and be able to be successful and get to victory lane.
And Larry, you said yesterday during the dash race here on Speed Channel, it's all relative. This is the Super Bowl for all these series.
This is one of the most important races that these guys will run all year. Bobby Gerhart, he's not running the full season, but it builds your momentum. You leave here, you as a winner in Speed Week, you almost can't do anything wrong for several weeks or months.
It's something you cannot take out of your resume. If you're a winner at Daytona, it is very, very important when you're talking to sponsors on also future rides. You've got to be able to win at Daytona.
Well, Bobby Gerhart is the winner here at Daytona. For Ralph Sheheen, Jeff Hammond, and Larry McReynolds, I'm Steve Burns saying thanks for being with us here on the Speed Channel.